This is April 2017 calculator section. So without any further ado, let's do this. Number 1, if m equals 3, how much greater is 10m than 6m? Okay, let's plug these bad boys in. 10 times 3 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. 30 is 12 greater than 18. Our answer is C, 12. Boom. Number 2. The temperature in degrees Celsius of a hot object placed in a room is recorded every 5 minutes. The temperature of the object decreases rapidly at first, then decreases more slowly as the object's temperature approaches the temperature of the room. Which of the following graphs could represent the temperature of this object over time? So we know it decreases quickly at first and then starts to decrease more slowly. So we know the answers can't be C or B because those increase. And then D appears to do the opposite. So our answer is going to be A. Number 3. Which of the following values of x is a solution to the equation above? Super simple. You can just plug the answer choices in. Once we plug them in, the only one that's going to work is 6. And to double check, 6 minus 2 is 4. So we get 4 on this side. And is this equal to the absolute value of 16? I'm sorry, the square root of 16. And it is 4 equals 4. So we are done, legend. Number 4. Last year, 800 students attended the career fair at West High School. This year, the number of students who attended the career fair increased by 5%. How many students attended the career fair at West High School this year? So all we've got to do is take 800, multiply by 1.05 to show a 5% increase. And we will get 840. Dunzo. Answer choice C. Number 5. Oh, lovely chart question. How many more grams of protein are in 1 pound of pumpkin seeds than there are in 1 pound of pistachios? Okay, so let's see. In pistachios, we have... Let's label this as piss. So piss, we have pistachios. 3 grams of protein in 1 ounce, but there are 16 ounces. So we would have to do 16 times 3, which would give us 48. In pumpkin, we've got 8.5. So we've got to do 16 times 8.5. What will that get us? 136. Whoops. So the difference between 136 and 48 is C88. So our answer is 88. Boom. Number 6. Lionel purchases 1 pound bags of each of the 5 seeds and nuts shown on the table of the following, which best approximates the average arithmetic mean number of calories per bag? Okay, of each of them. Oh my, that's a lot of nuts. Okay, so what we need to do is basically multiply. Let's see what we need to do. Multiply each of the calorie counts for each of the nuts by 16, since 1 pound is 16 ounces. And since we want the average per bag, we then divide it by 5. So let's take each of those values. We've got 198 plus 80 plus 159 plus 166 plus 185 equals 788. Multiplied by 16 equals 12,608. But then we got to divide that 12,608 by 5. And that'll get us 2521, which is approximately 2,500. Answer choice D, Dunzo. Number 7. A pool initially contains 1385 cubic feet of water. A pump begins emptying the water at a constant rate of 20 cubic feet per minute. Which of the following functions best approximates the volume in cubic feet of water in the pool T minutes after pumping begins? So we started at 1385, right? So that's going to be like our y-intercept. Well, that's all of them. But then we're decreasing at a rate of 20 cubic feet per minute. So the only answer choice that decreases at 30 times something is answer choice A. Boom. Number 8, at a snack bar, each medium drink costs $1.85. Each large drink costs C more dollars than the medium drink. If 5 medium drinks and 5 large drinks cost a total of $20.50, what is the value of C? So let's set up an equation for this. What we can do is we can do, so we have 5 medium drinks, right? So we'll do 5 times 1.85 plus 5 times 1.85 plus C, that's for the large drinks, equals 2050. Beautiful. So 5 times 1.85, get your calculator out, is going to be 9.25. So 9.25 plus 9.25 plus 5C equals 2050. So 18.5 plus 5C equals 2050. So 5C equals 2. So C equals 0.4. That is answer choice B. Beautiful. Number 9. Katie bought a bus pass that had an initial value of $90. For every ride Katie takes, $1.80. Cost of one bus ride subtracted from the value of the pass. What percent of the initial value of Kate's bus pass is the cost of one bus ride? Pretty easy. The cost is $1.80, right? The bus pass is 90, so we do 1.80 over 90. When we do that, that brings us to B 2%, because it's going to give us a value of 0.02. 10. To determine whether residents of a community would vote in favor of a ballot proposal to use $100,000, oh my, of local taxes for additional playground equipment at a community park, Jennifer surveyed 60 adults visiting the park with their children during 1 week in June. She found that 45 of those surveyed reported they would vote in favor of the proposal. Which of the following statements must be true? What must be true? So we can only draw statements about predictions. So we can't make any conclusions on the actual results. We don't know what will actually happen. So A is out. Is the sample size too small? This will never be an answer for the SAT. It'll never be an issue of the sample size being too small. It'll pretty much always be an issue of the sampling method being flawed, or for whatever reason the sample wasn't representative of the population, and thus we can't draw any conclusions. So B's out. So we're left with C and D. Well, D kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because, well, it is flawed. Why is it flawed? Well, because, let's see, because we're only asking about children at a playground, right? So adults who are at a playground are more likely to have children, so the results are more likely to be biased. So C is our answer. Number 11. Oh, this is a fun one. If x squared minus y is x to the fourth minus y to the fourth equals negative 15, and x squared minus y squared equals negative 3, what is the value of x squared plus y squared? Beautiful. So a little easy shortcut here. If we do x squared minus y squared and multiply this by x squared plus y squared, because one is a minus and one is a plus, we're actually going to cancel out the middle term. So this is going to get us x to the fourth minus y to the fourth. So in other words, because x squared minus y squared is negative 3, when we multiply negative 3 by something, this has to get us negative 15, because x to the fourth minus y to the fourth is negative 15. So right off the bat, we know x has to be equal to 5. and thus x squared plus y squared would be 5. Alternatively, what you could have done is you could have solved the second equation for x squared or for y squared and basically substituted it in for the first equation. And eventually you would have gotten to the right answer, but that would have just taken you a bit more time. Number 12. Which of the following is closest to the equation of the line of best fit shown? Well, we know a couple things, right? At 0, our y value is 54. So we have to get rid of... So the only answer choice that has that, a y-intercept of 54, is C. Dunzo. Number 13. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the slope of the line of best fit for these data? So, line of best fit means, like we had a line and it went kind of through the average of the data points, but it probably didn't hit very many of the data points. So it will never be an actual increase or like an actual prediction of what happens. There's always going to be a predicted. B is the predicted increase in the percentage of households with cable television each year. Well, the graph is about the percentage of households with cable television, so that makes sense. And the percentage of households, whereas D is the number of households. Well, the graph shows us percentage, right? Not number. So B is going to be our answer. Number 14. A greenhouse owner purchases fertilizer with 60-gallon drums. The fertilizer is mixed with water to make several batches of solution. Each batch is made by mixing 3 quarts of fertilizer with water. What is the max number of batches of solution that can be made from 1 40-gallon of drum? Okay, so, well, if we've got, let's see what we've got, 60-gallon drums and it's mixed, and we take 3 quarts of fertilizer and mix it with water. So if 1 gallon is 4 quarts, what we can do, we can take 60, multiply by 4, which gets us 240. And then we're going to divide 240 by 3, because we have 3 quarts of the fertilizer that gets mixed with the water, which gets us 80 max number of batches. Okay, number 15. Tara rode her bicycle along a straight road from her home to a restaurant and ate lunch. She then continued along the same road to a movie theater to see a movie. Finally, she returned home on the same road after the movie. Her distance was shown in the graph above. How many total miles did she ride her bicycle? Okay, so basically, well, let's see. First, she rode it, so for the first half hour, she rode for 3 miles, right? Then she stayed in one spot. Then she rode another 2 miles, so we're at 5 miles. Then she stayed at one spot, and then she rode another 5 miles. So that's a total of B10. Number 16. Woo! Ryan has 1,500 yards of yarn. That is a lot of yarn. He wants to knit at least 2 scarves and at least 3 hats. It is summertime at the time of this video, so that does not sound fun. Each scarf needs 300 yards of yarn, and each hat requires 120 yards of yarn. S is the number of scarves, H is the number of hats, which inequality represents this situation. So, let's see now. So we know he needs at least 2 scarves, right? And at least 3 hats. So S and H have to be greater than 3. So C's out. And now we know that, let's see. So he can't use more than 1,500. So that doesn't, so boom. So, and that is, but that's not for the number of scarves, right? That's for how much yarn gets used. So, and he has 300 yards of yarn. So 300 yards times the number of scarves plus 120 yards times the number of hats has to be less than the total amount of yarn we have, yards of yarn that we have. So the inequality that represents that is D. Okay, 18, something about a storm. During a storm, the atmospheric pressure in a certain location fell at a constant rate of 3.4 millibars per hour, interesting unit of measurement, over a 24-hour time period. Which of the following is closest to the atmospheric pressure in millimeters per mercury over the course of 5 hours? And we're told that 1.03 MB is 160 millimeters. So let's just set up a little proportion, I guess. Yeah. So 1013 MB over 760 millimeters HG equals 3.4 over X. And now all you gotta do is cross multiply. So 1013 X equals whatever 760 times 3.4 is. Let's see, 760 times 3.4, which is 2584. Divide both sides by 1013. 2584 divided by 1013 is about 2.55. But this is over the course of 5 hours, right? So X is 2.55. But we have to multiply this by 5, right? Because this is per hour. If we multiply by 5, we're going to get about 12.8. Number 19, on its opening day, a car dealership had an inventory of 29 cars. During the first 6 months, 18 cars were purchased by the dealership each week, and then they sold 15, and we want to know what is going to be the inventory T weeks after opening day. Well, if they purchase 18 cars but sell 15 cars, right? That means each week we get an additional 3 cars, and we started at 29. So the equation that shows an initial value of 29 and a positive change of 3 is going to be D. Number 20, if 2 root 2x equals a, what is 2x in terms of a? A couple of ways to approach this problem. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to just start by squaring both sides. So if we square both sides, on the left we're going to get 4 times 2x, and then this is going to be a squared. So therefore, 8x equals a squared. So x equals a squared over 8. But we're looking for 2x. So 2x is going to be, therefore, you multiply both sides by 2, will be 2a squared over 8, which is the same thing as a squared over 4, which is the answer choice B. 21. Oh, 21. A project coordinator at a banquet hall is given the task of arranging seating for an award ceremony. The figure above shows the first 3 possible arrangements of tables, and the max number of seats in each arrangement of the number of seats in each successive arrangement is increased by 6 over the preceding arrangement, which of the following represents the max number of seats around n tables. We can just plug stuff in here, right? In the first arrangement, we have 1 table, so n would be 1. And we have 8 chairs, 8 seats. So see which answer choice gives you 8 when you plug in 1. The only answer that's going to do that is B. And if you picked any of the other tables, for example, if you picked the second arrangement, it has 2 tables and 3, 6, 9, 12, and 14 seats, right? If you had plugged in 2 for n, you would have gotten 14 in answer choice B as well. Any of these works. I just used the first one because it was easiest. Number 22, the graphs in the xy plane of the following quadratic equations each have x-intercepts of -2 and 4. The graph of which equation has its vertex farthest from the x-axis. Just literally graph these. Like, grab your calculator, graph these. The vertex is the minimum or maximum value of the function. It's like at the point of symmetry for the parabola. So literally just see which one of these has the y-coordinate of the vertex furthest from the x-axis, and it's going to end up being answer choice A. 23, in the system of equations above, C is constant. For what value of C will there be no solution to the system of equations? So these problems often ask 2 things. One, they'll give you the information and they'll want a missing variable, and they'll tell you that there's either no solution or there's an infinite number of solutions. If there's an infinite number of solutions, that means the equations are the same. or one equation is a multiple of the other equation, which means they're the same. If they're saying there's no solution, it means that the slopes are the same and the lines are parallel. Because by definition, parallel lines can never cross, they can never intersect. And if they can never intersect, that means there's no solution to the two equations. So what we need to do, if these lines are parallel, that means they have the same slope. So we need to get the slope of the first equation and then get the slope of the second equation and then set them equal to each other. So firstly, we're going to just rearrange everything and to make it y equals something. So the first equation we'll do 3y equals minus 2x plus 5. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. The second equation is cy equals negative 4x plus 8. So y equals negative 4 over cx plus 8 over c. So the slopes must be equal. So we're going to set negative 2/3 equal to negative 4 over c. So therefore, cross multiply, negative 12 equals negative 2c, c equals 6. Number 24, the polynomial p to the fourth plus 4p cubed plus 3p squared minus 4p minus 4 can be written as p squared minus 1 times p plus 2 squared. What are all the roots of the polynomial? Just set what they've given you equal to 0. P squared minus 1 times p plus 2 squared equals 0. And this is going to be solved like any quadratic. So p squared minus 1 equals 0, which means that p could be equal to plus or minus 1. And then p plus 2 squared equals 0, which means p can only be equal to negative 2. So negative 2, negative 1, and 1, our answer choice is C. Number 25, which of the following describes an exponential relationship between the pair of variables listed? So exponential relationship just means that the rate of increase, like the rate of change, it keeps increasing. So like you don't keep adding 1 every time. So like y doesn't keep increasing by 1 every time x increases by 1, for example. It doesn't keep increasing at a constant rate. It increases at an increasing rate. So usually this means there's a percent involved. So A might work. Let's keep A. B, the car speed decreases at a constant rate of 10 meters per second. So it keeps decreasing at the same rate. So that's out. C, the pressure increases by 14.7 pounds per square inch with every 33-foot increase. So it keeps increasing at the same rate. So out. And D, it decreases by 15 inches each minute, right? So for every minute that goes by, it decreases by an additional 15. If it kept decreasing by like 15, then 16, then 17, that would have been an exponential function. So A is our answer. Number 26, another convenience store in the same state sells 4-pack of AA batteries for $4.89. If the store's price is more than the predicted by the line of best fit, what is the least number of competitors that it could have? Okay, so at $4.89, that'll be about here-ish. Let's see. So this is 4.8. Oops. So 4.8. So 4.89 would be like around like here somewhere. Boom. So we'll cross like about there. It's more than they told us the price is more than the line of best fit, which means it must be points that are above the line of best fit. So we crossed the line before 3, which means that the least number of competitors the store could have would be 3. C. Okay. 27. The line of best fit passes through the point 18, negative 0.12. Which of the following can be concluded from this? 8. They will not model the price for a store with a large number of competitors. Okay, yes. Because the line of best fit is supposed to model something. So if it doesn't predict it, it might be because that store is out of the range of it. So we'll keep that. A convenience store with 17 competitors can no longer sell 4 packs of AA batteries. Well, no, that's just a weird answer, right? Why would that be a thing? C, convenience store with 17 competitors can't decrease its price any further. Again, that's a weird thing, right? Logically, that doesn't make any sense. And D, a convenience store cannot have more than 17 competitors. Again, that doesn't make like any sense. So A would have to be the answer. 28 is a lovely question. The figure above shows that the shaded triangular region with a hypotenuse of 5 centimeters has been removed from a rectangular tile with dimensions x centimeters by y centimeters. Of the following, which best approximates the area in square centimeters of the tile before the piece was removed? Oh my. So notice something here. These are all 30, 60, 90 triangles, which means that we can draw a bunch of conclusions about these things. So for example, the middle triangle, right? The short side is 5, opposite 30-degree angle, which means that the hypotenuse would be 10. So the hypotenuse is 10, which means that this short side over here would be 5, which means that x is going to be 5 root 3. So we've got x, now we just need to get y. So now we can look at the middle triangle. We know that this long side of the middle triangle is going to be 5 root 3. Oops. Let's try that again. So this would be 5 root 3. Pardon the handwriting. So we know that this side would be 5 root 3 over 2. Because the short side is half of this hypotenuse. And therefore, we can now calculate what y is going to be. Well, y is going to be 5 root 3 over 2 times root 3. Which will give us root 3 times root 3 is 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So y is 15 over 2. So we know x, we know y. All we've got to do now is multiply them by each other. And if we just stick that into our calculator, we're going to get approximately 65. Whew. 29. Thomas is making a sign in the shape of a regular hexagon. A regular hexagon is just a hexagon where all of the sides are the same length. With 4 inch sides, which he will cut out from a rectangular sheet of metal as shown in the figure above. What is the sum of the areas of the 4 triangles that would be removed from the rectangles? So we know some stuff here. The beautiful thing that we know is if each of these is 4, it's a hexagon, right? So we can figure out what the angles in the hexagon are going to be. The way we calculate the sum of the degrees of any shape is we have a formula. It's n minus 2 times 180, which gives us the sum of the angles of any shape. N is the number of sides. So if we do this, so 180. So a hexagon has 6 sides. So we can do 6 minus 2, which is 4, times 180, which gives us 720. Now, if a hexagon has 6 different interior angles, we can do 720 over 6, which gives us 120. So we know that each of these interior angles right here is going to be 120 degrees. All of them. So on and so forth. So if these are 120, we know that the angle, for example, the blue angle, will have to be 60. And therefore, we'll also know that, for example, this other angle, let me make that clearer. That'll have to be, let's see, 60. Sorry, can only zoom in so much. And this other angle will have to be 30. So we've got Again, sorry, not the handwriting's bad, but it is what it is. So we've got these 30, 60, 90 triangles here, and this now is very valuable information because if these are 30, 60, 90, we know each of these sides is 4. Whoops. We know each of these sides is 4. So therefore, if this side is 4, this is the hypotenuse, that short side would be 2. This long side is 2 root 3. So we know that the areas of each of these small triangles is going to be 1/2 2 times 2 root 3, which is going to be 2 root 3. And there's 4 of them, which means that the areas of the 4 small triangles are going to add up to 8 root 3, which means our answer is going to be A, 8 root 3. And number 30. Which of the following equations describes the circle with radius of 10 that passes through the origin when graphed in the XY plane? So this is a bit tricky, but let me kind of show you how you would do this. So basically, let's say this is our graph, right? Basically, we can let's test a couple of these out. So if we use answer choice A, for example, A basically says that the center is located at 5, -5, and that the radius is root 10. So if we place something at 5, -5, let's say this is 5 and this is -5. So this would say that the center is here and that the radius is root 10. So in other words, from here, from the origin down to here, this would have to be root 10. The problem is, this isn't possible, because if this is 5 and this is 5, if you did the Pythagorean theorem on this, you would end up getting a hypotenuse of 5 root 2. And 5 root 2 is not equivalent to root 10. So the answer choice, for which the radius matches up with what the hypotenuse would be the correct answer. So I'll tell you right now that A, B, and C won't work. But to prove it, let's try out answer choice D. Let's draw another one of these graphs. And we'll say that this is 5 root 2. This is -5 root 2. -5 root 2. So this would be our little radius, which would need to be 10. Well, 5 root 2 squared is 50, because 25 times 2 is 50. 5 root 2 squared again is 50. So a squared plus b squared needs to get us c squared, which is 100. 5 root 2 squared is 50. -5 root 2 squared is 50. This is 100. It matches up. So we just proved that D must be the answer. And now time for the griddance. Number 31. In the xy plane, the graph of y equals x minus 6 squared plus 3 is the graph of the image of x plus 5 squared plus 3 after translation of how many units to the right. Well, we're going from well, if we're going from 5 to -6, that's a difference of 11, right? So our answer is going to be 11. 32. When 9 is increased by 9 is by 3x, so 9 plus 3x, the result is greater than 36. What's the least possible value for x? So let's solve this. 3x has to be greater than 27. X has to be greater than 9. The smallest integer that's bigger than 9 is 10, so 10 is our answer. Number 33. Okay, we have a table of information. Based on the information of the table, what fraction of presidents who were not born in the 19th century were born in the South? So the number of presidents who weren't born in the 19th century is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24. And what percent of them were born in the South? 12. because 9 plus 3 is 12, which gives us 1/2. 34, what is the value of 1 over x plus 1 times 2 plus 2x? So just multiply across. So this will be 2 plus 2x over x plus 1. And so we can rewrite this as 2x plus 2 over x plus 1, which simplifies down to 2. Okay, number 35. Okay, 35 gives us a bunch of information, and they want to know what is the average ticket price for the 10 tickets. So we just need to basically use our calculator. Rows 1 through 10 is, let's see, 3 tickets for row 1, right? So that's 25 times 3, plus 2 tickets for row 3, so plus 20 times 2, plus 2 tickets for row 4, that's 20 times 2, plus 3 tickets for row 12, so that's plus 3 times 12. We get our average, which is, so that gets us 200. 200 divided by 10 is 20. Number 36, a fashion buyer for a large retail store purchased 315 items for the manufacturer for a total of $6,000. Some of the items were dresses purchased for 25 each. The rest were shirts for 10 each. How many more dresses than shirts did he buy? In other words, so like we can set up a system of equations. So dresses plus shirts has to be 315. Let's see, 25D plus 10S equals 315. Okay, so if we do this out, let's say D equals, so solve the first equation for D. So D equals 315 minus S. Plug that into the second equation. 25 times 315 minus S plus 10S equals, this should be equals 6,000, not 315. Equals 6,000. Distribute everything out and solve for S. So let's see. 25 times 315 is 7875. So 7875. Minus 25S plus 10S is going to be minus 15S. Equals 6,000. So do 6,000 minus 7875 equals negative 1875 divided by negative 15. So we get S equals 125. So if S equals 125, that means D is going to be 315 minus 125. So D would be equal to 190. And then we need to know the difference between them, though, right? So we do 190 minus 125. That gets us 65. Sorry for the mess. Not that much room to write here, especially with one of these bad boys. Okay, so 37. So we are looking for this. Okay, it's number 37. The radius of each tire of Maria's car is 0.3 meters. What is the approximate speed of Maria's car in kilometer per hour? So we need to get her speed in kilometers per hour. Okay, so what we're going to need to do is, well, we know, let's see, what is the distance around each tire? That's going to be the circumference, right? So that's C equals 2 pi r, which is going to be 2 times 0.3 pi, which is 0.6 pi. The speed, we know it's showing 779 revolutions per minute, so we can calculate the speed just by doing the 0.6 pi times 779 revolutions per minute. But we want it per hour, so we need to multiply this by 60, and then we want it kilometers per hour, right? Versus meters, because right now this is the circumference on the tires is 0.6 pi meters. So we have to divide this by 1,000, which will give us 88. Okay, and last question. She gets new tires. The radius of each of her old tires is 0.3 meters. The radius of each of the new tires is 11% larger than the radius of the old tires. What is the circumference? The circumference of each new tire is 1/10 of a meter. So circumference is 2 pi r. So we're going to replace r with so to calculate the new r, we're going to have to do 0.3 times 1.11. Stick that into your calculator. That'll get us 0.33 repeating. So this will equal 2 pi times 0.3 repeating, which will get us 0.67 pi. And then if we stick that into our calculator, this will be approximately 2.1. So our answer here is 2.1. That was the calculator section for this test. We are now done, so I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and I will do my best to address them. Ciao.